let's say the positive things. Let's find positive mantras. We're seeing humanity, but let's be kind to ourselves. If we're not doing the best type of money type practices, let's set a goal and tell ourselves that we are doing positive steps. I am good with money, or I'm doing this step and it's making me better at money today.
If all that stuff sounds interesting to you, then you're going to want to tune into today's podcast.
I've been in enough of those rooms where I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, if there's odds that I might walk in a room and be uncomfortable, I was like, I don't want to do that.
See? Okay, so that brings me to a topic, doing uncomfortable things. Like, right?
Man.
Why would you want to do that? You've already been in the rooms. You've already had great success. And it's like, I don't want to be uncomfortable again. And that goes for all different levels, all different levels of people.
It has to provide a value. Like, it's not that I won't go be in the uncomfortable room, but like, I'm not building a CPA business anymore. So if I was doing it to get a client, great. But now why am I being in that room?
Yeah.
What am I getting out of it? Now, I'm sure network or something, but if there isn't a purpose that has enough value for me, I'm not going to, the cost of being in the awkward room just isn't worth it. I'd rather be where it's just comfortable.
Yeah.
But I like do the difficult or do the awkward things. I mean, competition in jiu-jitsu was always that.
Yeah.
It is, the nerves are miserable every time.
Sure.
But it makes me so much better.
It does.
And so I always push myself to do it. And I think part of it, like when they laughed, I think part of that triggered in me, now I really have to double down and do this. Like,
sure.
It was almost a challenge of, you can't do this. And that type of stuff does motivate me. But there's a point where it doesn't have value anymore. And I'm like, I'll find the next hard thing.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking about goals, I'll just set a different goal that isn't being in the awkward room. I'll still pick hard things to do.
I don't want to do this hard thing anymore. I don't want to go out and rake the leaves in the backyard. And I have 4 mesquite trees. So I always have leaves in my backyard.
Yeah.
Where I could go out there once a week and do it. But no, instead I'll have a guy come and blow it and it'll cost $80.
That's why you need jiu-jitsu after work.
Yeah. Or you got to do the hard things, man. You got to go into the rooms.
Yes.
Because some people don't have the problem who are listening to this podcast or even talking on the podcast of going into the jiu-jitsu room. I go into the jiu-jitsu room every day. I'll sign up for a tournament every week.
That's not hard anymore.
That's the other things is like getting out there, going into the rooms, building another business when you've already done one and you're turning down work over here, but you're striving to get work over here,
Staying motivated is tough, especially with rejection and things that way.
It is motivating.
It is tough. Why I wanted to talk about the classes a little bit, because it's not just that your efforts they weren't bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's other stuff going on that maybe that's your route to getting in there. But rejection is so hard to keep your motivation up.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to grow a business or really anything that's connected to that class type level growth, you got to get in the room. You got to
do the hard things.
It's going to be awkward. Not everyone is willing to do that.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the price to your success at certain levels. You're not going to get in without a sponsor dragging you along and making you have the embarrassing moments.
Right.
Or someone getting you in there. It doesn't naturally magically happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think doing the hard things is going to make more people happy, because I see so many unhappy people out there.
I agree.
Yeah. And it's because they just stop wanting to do anything hard. They want everything given to them. And it's just, that's not
conditioning too. When you stop doing the hard stuff, you don't remember the good feeling of accomplishing a hard thing that you feel right afterwards. Like, oh man, I did the thing. Mm-hmm. Like when I went and finally closed a doctor and I was like, hey, I closed that lead and that was great. And you finally leave like, okay, validation for all the effort I put in. But the more that you stay away from that and it's just something simple, something simpler, or that's scary, I don't want to do it. And you've done that enough times, you build up, I don't even remember what that's like. All I remember is the fear of what it might be if it's bad. And that's enough to stop me from trying.
And what's the remedy to that?
Getting a really good friend that calls you out and then makes you do the thing.
You're
like, hey, why aren't you doing what we talked earlier?
When are we making content? I got some content ideas.
We got to do more content.
There you go. I love it. All right, let's get back to the next one on your list.
That was the general stuff on that topic. I had another topic I was going to run through just in the space of self-help, trying to help people get ahead. There's a article that's put out by the AICPA, which is kind of like the big CPA group, a bunch of random topics. But the one that they had put out was talking about what they call money scripts. And I'm just going to call it concepts around or lies we tell ourselves around money or financial wealth growth. And it's kind of written from you're a financial advisor or a CPA working with a client type standpoint. But I think that these are some common traps that we fall into. And when we're, fighting to get ahead in life, what's holding us back? Could one of these phrases be holding us back? So it has 3 scripts that it says are really common that hold people back. The first script is, you must always be saving money. Now, I will say that I come from an upbringing where we had to save all the time, and there were lots of periods when we didn't have enough. And when you come from that type of upbringing, I don't know if it's like a trauma response, but you almost feel like you have to save all the time and it's never enough. And then even if you spend on yourself, you almost feel guilty when you did it. Like, that's not okay to do. So they go through here a lot of things that can get you in that space where you're like, I just have to save. I have to save. And I can imagine in the real estate space, imagine people that are like, hey, you can get in a house and this is your dream house. Yes. And then they tell you something silly like, I'll buy it as soon as I save some more money first. And you're like, well, the house isn't going to sit around and wait for you. Like, you lost your opportunity. And is it really true that they have to save more money before they could achieve that goal? Probably not. But they're going to use that lie or that fallacy that they have stuck in their head of, I have to save more money. And so some of the concepts to get around that is to, if you're one of those that are stuck on have to save all the time, you need to either work on some type of budget where you're looking at your numbers, or you have to train the habit out of you. So you pick something small and you say, this week I'm going to spend $20 on whatever I want. And you're going to allow yourself to spend a thing, telling yourself it's going to be okay with the rest of your budget, and building the habit that it's okay to do so that you can get this conditioning and extreme conditioning out of your system. I don't know. What are your concepts on? Have you had anybody do that where they see in the house and they're like, as soon as I save up some more money, I'll get back with you?
Oh, I hear that all the time. But I just think, I'm always thinking about personal experiences in these discussions, because I'm using this selfishly, I guess, for my own personal growth, and hopefully it helps someone along the way. But when I was young, I would save everything, man. I had, how old was I? I was like 20 years old, and I had saved up like $22,000. And this was like...
I had nothing like that at that age. Good job.
Well, I lived with my parents. They didn't charge me rent. As long as the rule in the house was you either go to school or you work. And my mom said, as long as you put the clothes in the hamper, I will wash them and fold them for you.
Man, you had a good gig.
I had a great gig.
It's a very supportive family.
Yeah, it's a very supportive family. I had to pay for any car I wanted, food, things there was food in the fridge anytime. And I just saved all my money. And I remember going on a trip with a friend, and might have been a female. I hope my wife's not watching this. And I couldn't figure out where $80 was in my bank account. And it totally ruined my trip.
You're so focused on that limp piece.
$80. And then I was like, this is not good. I'm so unhappy. Then I went the other route, and now I'm foolish with money. So I need to get back to an even medium.
Let's save it all. But it's a really
not save it all, even balance.
It's a really good example how the $80 made what could have been a really good experience, because you're so focused, hyper focused almost on that. I have to save, that when I don't know where that is, I can't relax and enjoy the rest of the stuff.
Sure.
It's that space of saving too much. That is what they're talking about. They're in your, I want to grow a financial wealth for my family or whatever you're doing. There is a balance between saving and being able to spend some money. You have to allow yourself to enjoy some expenditure of the money over time as you're growing the money. It can't be save all the time.
But for me, I identified I ruined this experience over money. Whereas there's some people, and for instance, I was with a client just yesterday and we were talking. He had pulled up in a brand new Escalade, and I was like, wow, nice truck. He's like, I know, I can't believe I did this, but it was a really good deal and I had to do it. And then he started talking about his brother, and they're both retired police officers. They both basically have the same pension. And he's like, my brother lives with my dad, and my dad's 93. He's like, probably every penny of that pension check goes right into the bank. And I'm like, if he knew I had this truck, my brother would want to kill me.
He'd be shaming him.
Right.
Yeah.
He would totally be shaming him. But I was like, well, is your brother unhappy? And he's like, no.
Yeah. There's a big thing to be said for those two extremes.
Right. So if you're happy saving every penny, and it's not affecting your relationships with your family or friends, then you do it, right? Otherwise, if it's a problem, then we're going to continue to talk about it.
I have to say that if you're happy with both of those methods, you're entitled to that. You worked hard to put more money in the bank, and that's what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Great.
If that's what makes you happy, yes.
Yep.
But if you have a family and other ones,
or if other things are getting neglected because of the extreme, then we probably need to change.
And we have to figure it out.
And again, go back to the goals that we do and set some goals and use a good process. And
yes. All right. What's number 2?
Number 2 is the common lie of saying to yourself, I'm just bad with money. Sometimes that takes away the accountability of me actually having to do the hard steps.
Ooh, I'm bad with
Look at a budget or see what the money that's going out every month. I just look at how the bank account doesn't have enough and tell myself I need more. but I don't go look at the expenses because then I'd have to hold myself accountable for where I'm wastefully spending and maybe need to change a few things.
Now I'm going to blame the economy. Inflation.
You can. There's one line that they use in here that I really liked. It says, the reality is that there's no perfect way to manage money. So when you got these people like, oh, I'm bad with money, odds are they're probably comparing themselves to the other brother or the other family member or some friend that they know that the outward appearance is probably still a lie, and they're comparing themselves to it. There's no perfect route to that. It's really going to be something unique for your own circumstance. So if you're doing that, oh, I'm bad with money, let's change that to a positive mantra. Let's say I'm going to be better at money by putting $100, each paycheck into a savings account. And then I'm going to tell myself, I'm doing great at saving money. Look, I'm doing the thing. Like, Let's get off the I'm bad with money. Let's get to a positive mantra, and don't beat yourself up on it because there isn't a perfect route. If you think that there is, you're comparing yourself in an unfair way.
Yeah. Well, you just said two things.
Mm-hmm.
You said first, I'm going to start doing this. And then you said positive mantra, I am doing this. Is there two steps to that where you first say, I'm going to do it, and then you start phrasing it as I am doing it? Because I know a lot of people talk about it as you're already that person.
I think the already that person is a good mind hack. So I would say do that.
Mm-hmm.
The first phrasing was like how I would write on a goals list. Like, this is the goal of what I'm going to do. So it's a forward-facing thing. But as soon as you do it, and the whole idea is that I set the goal, I'm doing it, is to say, I'm doing the goal. I'm actually achieving it.
Gotcha. And that might have been out of context because this is kind of off of previous discussion we had.
Yeah.
Same as when I was approaching that designer and I didn't introduce myself and tell her why I wanted to know if she was the actual designer.
True.
But when you had said that, because I'm thinking of writing the goals and like the mantras, that's why I wanted to clarify that. So first, identify the goal, write it down. Then your mantra is saying that goal as if you're already that person and achieving it.
Yes.
Excellent.
I think that is good statistical odds to being successful. And not that there isn't either 1,000 other paths, but if you use some of these and they help you, that's what we're sharing it for.
Okay. Continue on, please, my friend. This is good stuff.
Third one was, if I pay attention to money, it makes me a bad person, greedy, shallow person, because it's just money, money all the time. Typically, there's a reason that you've got to the space where you feel like that. Maybe there's another person that did some things with money and you're judging them. They're in the box to you. And because of that, you don't want to do the same thing because you're going to judge yourself or be too critical. You have to have some focus on money if you're trying to provide for a family, whether it's their health care or a roof over their head or food on the table. It's going to be monetary based whether you like it or not. So if we use the excuse, then we don't try to make any changes.
What was that excuse again?
If I pay too much attention to the money, then I'm a greedy person or I'm a shallow person or whatever negative attribute you want to put on it. But a lot of people say, well, the people that focus about the money all the time, blah, 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 the negative things. Other people they've seen and judged. And then like, well, if I focus on my money too much, am I becoming like them? Am I becoming that thing that I judged? And I would just say the judgment was wrong in the first place. Going again, you put that person in a box.
Yeah.
Let's see them as a person. Let's allow them to be their person. And now let's look at ourselves and be accountable. What can I do to make my money situation better? And we have to, even if it's going through the numbers and looking where I spend money and cutting out some of the things I love, too many people want to be comfortable, like what you said earlier. And I have 2 older kids that are young adults. And when they're talking about budgeting or, hey, help me be smarter with this, I hear in the answers they give me, when I look at the numbers and I give them suggestions, they tell me that, well, I want that so that I can be comfortable. I don't want to give up those things because I have a standard of where I want to be comfortable. So help me get there, but not with those things. Well, they basically say that to all the things I could cut out. And now how are we going to get ahead?
Right.
So they don't give you any path. So that excuse isn't going to work. And excuses give up your ability to change. When you make that, you're telling yourself in your head, I don't have to make a change now because the excuse is good enough. So if you ever feel like you're in the excuse space, we have to turn that around to something that's accountability. Let's say what I am doing. I am spending too much on expendable things. I do need to go through where I'm spending the money that isn't rent or food or the basic stuff I have to have. I got to look at those and see what I can change. And then go into those and be accountable. So just some basic lies we tell ourselves around money. And if you see yourself getting in those traps, let's accept them for that. Yeah. Let's make some goals around it or something to get ourselves a little better. But don't stay in the space saying those negative things, because that alone is a box that will help you go month to month and never get ahead. You're going to stay there with the same thing, wondering, why can't I get anywhere? I'm getting burnout. I'm working all the time. Although you're trying to be comfortable, you're probably not enough comfortable. And you're like, I'm never getting any better.
Right.
It's very possible you're going to have to take a couple steps back to get the step forward. And that's uncomfortable, and we need to get good at doing uncomfortable things.
Yes, we do.
Just like you mentioned.
Got to get back into that room, get laughed at.
I don't know. I'm not choosing to go to that one a lot, but I'll do other hard things.
No, not you personally. I'm just saying it's a metaphor.
That's all I have for the general concepts I want to bring today. So hopefully there's something there that resonates with you that you can use to really try to do that self-betterment type thing. But this is the Fight Club. It is a fight to get ahead. It doesn't just naturally happen. So you have to pick hard things. You have to use some of these tactics to try to, whether it's climb the class ladder or even just get outside of this box of looking negative people so we can talk more positive about ourselves. Find a route that's going to get you ahead. That's what we're trying to give you here at the Fight Club.
Not even get ahead. Stay ahead.
Yeah.
You know? When you get to the top, there's only one way to go.
Not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
Boom. That's a show.